All right, hello wrestling fans, and welcome to the premiere episode of the Ring Post Daily podcast. We are here, and Ring Post Daily was made by fans and for the fans. We do it for the wrestlers, the industry, and such. It's just us ourselves are fans as well. Today we have myself. I am Tyreek. I've been a fan since 2010, and let's just get a little bit of a feel for the room here. So. One thing we'll start off with a question for the group is what's like, just introduce yourself, say what your name is, and then we'll here's a good starter question. What's a good Rumble memory, or your favorite Rumble memory that you'll always remember? So start off with me. I'm Tyreek, and I'd say one of my favorites, it comes from probably my favorite Rumble, to be honest, which would be the 2020 Royal Rumble. For a while, it's been, I had some that were nostalgic or whatever, but the reason I chose the 2020 Rumble, because I think overall, that Rumble is just entertaining to watch, and I could just watch it over and over. But as far as the moment goes, having Edge return was probably my favorite part, and just a big moment, just because when it comes to when I started watching wrestling, which was in 2010, it was the next, I became a big fan of Edge and started watching his old stuff as well. Then, not only a year later, that heartbreaking speech, of course, on Monday Night Raw. I just remember watching it live, being sad, but not thinking he'd ever come back. I would say that's probably my favorite Rumble run. But let's start off with Jesse. Jesse, you can introduce yourself, say a little bit about yourself, and also what is your favorite Royal Rumble moment over the years?
All right, so you are listening to the dulcet tones of Jesse Henrik. I would say my favorite Rumble memory would have to be the Rumble where we had Too Cool with Rikishi in the Rumble, and they do their dance. I know it's not a winner or anything like that, but it's definitely the most standout memory I have of a Rumble. Of course, you got Drew winning. I actually was really into Shinsuke winning his first Rumble, the Rumble for him. Yeah, those are a couple of memories I have with the Rumble that just really stand out to me. Of course, you got the 3 different wins of Stone Cold, which are iconic. If you go all the way back to Ric Flair, when he came in, that was an unprecedented win for him. And the company in general. So, I mean, the Rumble has come a long way, and I'm interested to see what they do with it this year. I think we have a pretty good indication of where they're going this year, especially with Cody. But we'll get into that in a little bit.
All right, thank you for that. Those were actually some great points. And now, Joey, I'll see the same question. You could just introduce yourself and say a little bit about yourself if you'd like. And also, just what is your favorite Royal Rumble memory that first comes to mind?
First off, I want to welcome everyone to the show. My name's Awesome One Joey, and I've always been wanting to get into this wrestling podcast stuff, so this is kind of like a surreal moment for me. But I've been a wrestling fan since the 90s. Royal Rumble is actually one of my favorite events of the year, and I'd have to say that my favorite moment of the Rumble is Royal Rumble 2008 from Madison Square Garden, when John Cena returned at number 30 unexpectedly and won the whole thing. That's kind of where we got to see the first sighting of Super Cena, so to say, and no one expected it. And to me, I think that was my favorite Rumble winner / moment, because it was just so unexpected, and just the way that the fans in Madison Square Garden and fans at home was shocked by his return and winning the whole thing. Yeah, he may not have won that main event at Mania that year, but it was a great way to bring Cena back to the picture, and Cena being my favorite wrestler and all that, it just became my favorite Rumble moment.
That's awesome. And I agree. Even though I'd never really watched that live, just when I did, I just remember first watching it and in 2008 and what had happened, and from there, of course, me growing up in the started watching in the PG era, John Cena has always been one of the best to me, and he's always just been just he's literally, he's John Cena, and seeing that old, like, even though I didn't watch it live, looking back and watching that, kind of for me just it just shows how great that moment was. If I could just go back, even though I knew who the winner was, and just seeing how shocking that it's like, it's a moment I could watch over and over. But anything you want to add, Jesse, or to what Joey said?
No, I mean, obviously Cena coming back was such a huge moment. It almost rivals when Triple H came back from injury on that Monday Night Raw. I mean, you just had these huge organic pops from the crowd, and they just had the crowds eating out of the palm of their hands. And the Rumble is such a great place for those comebacks, like you said with Edge too. Especially in a day and age where we have social media, where we as wrestling fans, we read the dirt sheets, we read Twitter, Instagram, what have you, so we have all this information. And if they can keep those sort of things secret, I know, kind of like I was saying, Cody's the worst kept secret, so to speak, of this year. But those kind of pops where we didn't have the immediate dirt sheet information, unless you were really looking for it, those are the greatest pops in modern wrestling history.
Well, like I was thinking, like, you could have brought Cena back the very next night on Raw, a month from then, but it wouldn't have had the same impact as it did with surprising everyone at number 30. Like, he could have came in at number 15, but I think doing it at number 30 and bringing him back in that way that they did, I think it was just one of those moments where the shock factor and everything involved was just perfect timing. I don't think they could have done it a better way than they did.
Oh, absolutely.
But, yeah, that was exactly my favorite moment in the Rumble.
And the number 30 spot is actually a really, lucky spot when it comes to the Rumble. It's right up there with number 27, both of which have 4 winners attributed to them. So, I mean, I think it's going to be interesting to see where our Rumble winner this year comes out, because there's been talk of kind of giving number 27 its kind of prominence again, because it seems like they've leaned a little bit much on number 30 over the last few years. Everybody waits the whole hour that the Rumble goes, and then who's going to be the guy that comes out at 30? Everybody's kind of wondering that while they're watching.
Yeah, I think that just and also, like, credit to Cena and just like Undertaker, and just just I'd say WWE as a whole for like making that some number 30 spots are better than others, of course, but if that moment didn't exist, John Cena kind of made that number 30 spot prestigious. And also people like Undertaker and just people in general, and just the shocking moments of making sure it's like prestigious. I think that's dope that each superstar has their own little moment that really ties into that. What makes it prestigious?
I think it's made it like that moment, like you said. I think it made the number 30 spot prestigious in a way, because if you remember a couple years back, the Rumble, everyone was hoping that Daniel Bryan would come out as number 30, and then when it was Rey Mysterio never being a heel in his career, the fans turned on him because they knew that one last spot, number 30, was coming up, and they were just praying it would be Daniel Bryan, and it just wasn't. So that moment right there should show you how much number 30 means to the fans.
Absolutely. And I think you just brought up a good point about both announcing who's going to be in the Rumble and who isn't. I think Monday Night Raw did something very good this last week here. We're recording this on the 19th. But they did something really good where they actually announced Cody is going to be in. Now, I would have preferred them to have kept him a secret. But if they were going to be doing these teases like they have the past couple of weeks, where they're showing the footage of him, getting ready to come back, they're not insulting our intelligence if they at least tell us, yes, he's going to be in the Rumble. Now, what I think they should do is they need to find a way to make sure that Sami Zayn is either in the Rumble and he is eliminated very early, like screwed in some way or shape or form, or they need to make it so he is in a different match, so he is not in the Rumble and it is clear that he's not. because otherwise what happened with Daniel Bryan is going to happen with Sami Zayn too, because like say Cody does come out at 30, everybody loves Cody, but they might turn on him if he's not Sami Zayn, and everybody's really on the Sami train right now.
I agree as well.
Exactly.
All right, well, I think that's a good place to go into the next topic or question. So I'd say one thing I think we can get off is, or a good starter would be, let me ask you this question, Joey. Of course, you're really big into wrestling facts and really, really paying attention to the history of wrestling and, the history of the Rumble. Are there any special wrestling facts about the Rumble that you would like to share for to share on the podcast and for the fans that maybe not a lot of people would have heard before?
Well, absolutely. I'm a wrestling nerd, and when I'm not working, doing something, I'm looking up wrestling stuff. So, fact stuff is kind of down my alley. I do have a handful of Rumble facts that I looked up and wanted to share. And I guess we should start off with 1993 Royal Rumble was actually the first Rumble event to give a WrestleMania title shot to the winner, because every Rumble match before that didn't offer that. The Royal Rumble 2021 event was the only Rumble event with no fans due to being in the Thunderdome and because of COVID restrictions. The 2021 Royal Rumble event is the only event where 0 fans attended the event. As we all know, the first Women's Royal Rumble took place in 2018, and that was won by Raw superstar Asuka then. And Stone Cold Steve Austin, like you brought up earlier, Jesse, Stone Cold is the only person to win it 3 times. And the other people that's won it 2 times is Edge, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Hulk Hogan, Brock Lesnar, Batista, Randy Orton, and John Cena. Them are the only other guys to win more than one Rumble event.
It's definitely.
The record for the most times runner-up is Roman Reigns at 4. Like Justin said earlier, the entrant number 30 and 27 has produced the most winners at 4 apiece. Does anyone have anything to add before I go on and list any more?
I just want to comment on, well, can you guys hear me still? Just want to make that clear.
No, you're good.
Absolutely.
Okay. I just wanted to, I actually did not know that, I don't, of course there's, a lot of things you've said that I hadn't known before, but the one I'm referring to is the 1993 one being sort of the start to winning that very first,
getting the title shot.
Guaranteed a title shot at WrestleMania and tie into WrestleMania, because I think that's it brought prestige to the Rumble and made the Rumble more important. But I thought that was dope just because I don't know if I've watched old Rumbles before, but maybe I just didn't know when that actually started or when the title shot came into play. So thanks for that. That's pretty dope to hear.
Yeah,
well, it's pretty dope to admit it, because '93 was the year that I was born. So it's kind of like me turning 30 this month. It's kind of like the title shot opportunity is also turning 30.
Yeah, I mean, it's. You want to add, Jesse?
Yeah, it's definitely a star-studded cast of who's won it twice and 3 times, of course, with Stone Cold. One thing that's interesting about the winnings when it comes to the Royal Rumble is the most eliminations total over every Royal Rumble is 46, and the most appearances is 20. Both of those records are held by the same man, and that is Glenn Jacobs, Kane. And it's interesting because he has never won a Royal Rumble. So he holds 2 records, but he's never won the darn thing.
That pains me too, because when I was growing up, as I got older and get into the facts and stuff, it pained me to see King never win the Royal Rumble match, because especially that 2001 event where he held the record for most eliminations for the longest time. To me, it was a real sour feeling in my gut that Kane never got that Rumble victory like I feel that he should have got, because Kane's definitely put in the work for, you know, the most entrance and everything in the Rumble, and to me it's just that's one thing I can really accept. Kane never won a Rumble.
I agree as well. It's like I always thought Kane should have won a Rumble. Just to piggyback off what you guys said, I'll just add another question. If Kane were to win a Rumble, like thinking about his best Rumble matches he's been in, what year would you guys think he should have won?
I mean, that's tough to answer. You know, Kane is one of those stars who obviously he transcended different eras when he comes to, you know, the Attitude Era into Ruthless Aggression to the PG. You know, if I was gonna put him anywhere, interestingly enough, I think he should go right into. I don't remember what exact year it was, but right after his Team Hell No breakup with Daniel Bryan, after Bryan, you know, he obviously won the world title. I think that might have been an interesting time for Kane to go ahead and win it, because then he could have maybe revisited that feud. I think that was kind of Kane's last real relevant shot at, you know, doing something big. Obviously, they mostly used him as a mid-carder at that time, but I remember that feud, it was like red hot with the fans. So, I mean, if they wanted to push it to a main event feud, they very well could have.
The way I thought about it is, okay, the way they did the Undertaker and Kane WrestleMania 14 feud in the build-up, it was all amazing. One of my favorite build-ups and matches. But when they brought in Kane at that Hell in a Cell match between Taker and Michaels, they really wanted to make an impact on that match. I think we didn't know nothing about Kane like we do today. So if they really wanted to bring Kane in the year that he came in, we wanted him to win that Rumble and just dominate it, and then have Taker as world champion, and have Kane finally get, like, Taker say, I'm not facing my brother. Well, then Kane wins the Rumble and says, now you have to face me, and it's before your title. The outcome still could have been the same, but I think it would have been a great way to say, hey, this guy's going to be an eventer. He's getting what he wanted, no matter any cost. And I think it would have been just amazing, because you wouldn't have known anything about Kane like we did today. And I think it would have been a great way, a second way to build that up if you wanted to go another route.
Yeah, I agree. And sometimes it's hard, though. It's hard to think about, because you think about all the Rumble winners and how they get title wins, and how that has set up, you know, amazing matches. So you got to kind of think about, well, when you're thinking about the year, like, you think about who won that year and, like, what match did they have at WrestleMania. It's like it'd have to be a Rumble where maybe the fans didn't really want to see a certain match, or didn't want to see a winner, so that you'd have to, like, replace him with that, just because, you know, it say, like, you know, Kane's best Rumbles is the 2001 Rumble, where he, you know, held the record for so long for the most eliminations. But if Stone Cold hadn't have done that, if Stone Cold hadn't have won that one, then he obviously wouldn't have had the record for winning 3. So it's definitely complicated. If I had to make a decision, I think I agree with Jesse a little more, only because I'm not saying I disagree with you, Joe. I just have I don't know my wrestling history that far back. I will admit, or gone deeper into that feud, so I'd have to watch more Rumbles that Kane's been in. But yeah, I think just knowing that, you know, not everybody, like, the fans really didn't want Batista winning that Rumble, and, you know, just, like, not going on the WrestleMania. I think, like, that would have been, well, I don't know if that was the time after, you know, Team Hell No sort of split. I can't remember at the moment, but I feel like if the 2014 one, if he would have replaced Kane at the moment, well, I'm trying to think of if he was there, or if he was, what he was doing at that time, but I wouldn't mind see, like, Kane being the one to win the Rumble, and then setting up, that was WrestleMania 30, I believe, and like even possibly replacing Batista and giving Daniel Bryan that moment, tying in the feud, and Randy being champion at the time. So I'd say that'd be my take. But anyway, do you guys have anything to add to what I just said, or anything else?
Piggybacking off of the best, kind of Royal Rumble winners, I have an interesting question. What do you guys think is the worst Royal Rumble winner? Not necessarily for like the moment and everything, but what they did with the opportunity. For me, I would have to say it would be the 2019 with Nakamura, just because, like, okay, his win was awesome, but he went on, he faced AJ Styles at WrestleMania, and they have had amazing matches in history, especially over in New Japan Pro Wrestling, but they didn't have it click together for WrestleMania. Something fell off. I don't know if it was just over scripted and they didn't let them do what they wanted in the ring, but just something fell off about that match and its subsequent rematch.
Exactly. I feel like that match wasn't as great as it could have been, as it should have been. I feel like it was okay, we got this dream match here, let's go do it. I felt like that was like literally all that it was. Is, hey, here's a dream match for you guys, here, leave it. And a lot of fans left it because when you see the match in other places and other promotions, and then you bring it to life in the main company, so to speak, the D, I feel like it was a watered down version of what we've seen before. It wasn't given enough light to be what it could have been.
I agree as well. So, one thing, I think like last year was really, with Ronda Rousey winning it, I really, like, it's not the fact that she won, it's more of, leading up into the WrestleMania match that it became. It's like, well, me personally, I was excited to see Charlotte and Ronda, because I went to that WrestleMania last year and I was excited during the match, but the fans really just didn't seem into it, only because obviously Ronda winning, we kind of wanted to see the big dream match of her and Becky one-on-one, just straight up, but I just feel like going into it, maybe Ronda and Charlotte should, if they put a little more effort into it. Of course, night one of last year's WrestleMania was great with Stone Cold and KO, but it kind of lowered the bar of, let's say, or the prestige a little bit of the Women's Royal Rumble, because saying it's
like, supposed to be the main event, and
exactly,
it wasn't
exactly the main event. So I think maybe the feud could have been a little bit better, but also maybe I understand that fans didn't want to see that. They'd rather see Becky and Ronda, but I do wish that they kind of gave it more of a chance, because I thought it was great. Like, I was in the arena, I was enjoying it, but having it not as the main event, I was kind of like, maybe they should, maybe they should have started off the show with Stone Cold and KO, or like I said, it is what it was, but I'm just saying. The way I probably would have approached it was having them in the main event of WrestleMania, because I just remember I love the women's the last year's Women's Royal Rumble. I could watch it over and over, but I just remember I was watching it the other day, and I just remember I was thinking about this because I just remember what's her name, Samantha, the ring announcer, saying because she said this for Brock Lesnar as well. Here's your winner and the person to main event WrestleMania, Ronda Rousey. And I was like, damn, she didn't though, and I feel like they could have main evented, and maybe there could have been a little more effort into the feud, but also part of it was also fans kind of turning on and like, oh, we don't want to see this, we want to see Becky and Charlotte, of course, but of course, like, even though I feel that way, and it could have been better, I still think like Becky and Bianca could have main evented that night as well, but then you'd have to have Bianca winning her second Rumble. So I just feel like maybe they should have got the main event.
Yeah, and I mean,
go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I would not have been upset if they had Bianca, get the back-to-back wins. That would be the first one for the women's, whereas Stone Cold obviously has back-to-back wins for the men's Royal Rumble. So I mean, I think that would have been a very prestigious spot, and I think that I almost resent you for making me remember that women's match just because that it makes me want to change my answer because Ronda Rousey, I mean, she won the darn thing, and she seemed all excited and like she put on her smile and everything like she always does for that moment. But then the next night on Raw, she comes out and she's like, I didn't need this. I don't care if I'm here. And it's like, wow, that
then why are you here?
Exactly. And it doesn't help anybody. And she does not wrestle with nearly the passion or the physicality or anything that she used to. And I don't know what made her lose her spark, whether or not it was, I know she went and she, started a family, which is great. If she wants to do that, if she wants to be home, be home. But if you're not going to be the woman who is at the top of the mountain and acting like you are at the top of the mountain, then you need to move out of the way for the women who are going to be that top of the mountain.
See, I'm glad you both brought up what you guys said, because I'm going to kind of piggyback off both of you. Ty, I somewhat agree, because last year, a lot of people don't know is Ronda Rousey was mad because she wasn't going to be the main event. And the thing is in my mind, is if you go back and watch that WrestleMania for a second time and see the layout matches, sure, everybody expected a Stone Cold and Kevin Owens KO show and maybe a stunner and that be it. But if you're going to have Stone Cold wrestle again in what could be his last final match, and surprise the fans with the match the way they did, I think putting Stone Cold in that main event spot was an excellent thing to do. Yeah. Ronda Rousey being mad that she didn't get to go on to the main event, it's like, how can you be mad that we're putting one of the greatest of all times in the main event when you're going on like right before them or something? Like Stone Cold, people want to see Stone Cold wrestle one last match. Why not surprise them and give them that WrestleMania not one main event with that? Rousey can't be upset that, hey, you're going to go to the event and you're going to get your time out to get a hefty payday, but you can't be mad that we're giving the fans what they want. This is even though WWE and wrestling in general, they don't always give the fans what they want, this was one of those moments where you guys want to see Stone Cold wrestle again, we got it worked out, we're going to give it to you. And it's going to be the main event. So it's just one of those moments where you show your professionalism and say, hey, the fans are getting what they want, I'm getting the match, the payday that I want, everybody's a winner here.
Oh, absolutely. And
that's okay. I just wanted to say actually, real quick. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Joy. You can finish your thought.
Like you said, Jesse. Like you said, whether you want to be there, be there. If you don't. You have to think too. There are women from the past, the present, and there's women working in the future of WWE. Like there are women that's their entire lives to either get where they're at or never even get to see that spotlight. So when you're Ronda Rousey and you say, hey, I don't want to be here, I didn't need this, I don't need fans, the WWE, I don't need none of this. When you say that, you're not just spitting in the face of the fans who hate to see this product. You're spitting in the face of women beside you in the locker room, the ones like Ina and who else was passed on, spitting in the face of a lot of women who killed to have your WrestleMania spot, but you don't matter that much as you do. When you don't realize in reality this moment would mean just about everything to any other woman.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean, I think it's important to clarify when we're talking about this and, saying she came out like that. It wasn't that she came out as a heel and said, I don't need the fans. It was the fact that she came out and she had no heat. She had no excitement. I mean, she was apathetic. That's what the problem was with Rousey coming out and saying that. If she had heel heat, or if she had, a babyface energy, that would have been different. But she came out and she had no heat, no energy, no nothing. She was like, I don't need to be here. In her, kind of pouty, mopey sort of tone. That's
Yeah, I agree.
you know,
She's like it's like she thinks she's bigger than the industry.
well,
That's a fair point you
and
guys made. Like,
and you could
even,
argue she is.
she's like, oh, I don't really need this. I don't really need that. It's just, or I don't need to be here. And you know, I'm just like, I'm helping the industry. That's how I kind of perceive it as.
Yeah, and I mean, you could argue she is bigger than the industry, but that doesn't mean that the industry should also roll on its back for her.
Well, I am gonna put in there that I don't. I mean, I disagree. I don't think she's bigger than the industry because I honestly don't believe any one person is bigger than the WWE because without the WWE and its fans, there's no paycheck, there's no fame and glory, there's no WrestleMania to go out there and format. I think that's kind of Ronda Rousey's problem, which I don't, you know, even if I'm not a fan of someone, I do appreciate work and respect what they do for the business. But when you're Ronda Rousey and you're saying you don't need this and that, a lot of fans are going to question, why are you here then? You're a UFC Hall of Famer. You're one of the greatest UFC fighters, whether it's men or women, of all time. And you've already made history in WWE. If you feel like you don't need it and you don't need to be here, then the door is there. You're more than welcome to leave. But just know that you are not. Just know that we're not bigger than this company. You could leave tomorrow, and the company will still roll on. They will find someone else to be that main event. And all those great matches and moments that you could have had, screw it. You're going to give it to someone else who maybe deserves it more, maybe deserves it less. Yeah, it depends on who they give it to. But you walk away from your spot, someone else is going to take it. So you have to keep in mind that no matter how big your head is, no matter how big your ego is, no one is bigger than the company.
I agree. It's like, and I believe I heard that Paul Heyman say something similar. I was watching an interview on YouTube. I can't remember which one it was, but I always remember him saying this. It's like, you know, I think he said something to the effect of, like, the industry moves on without you all the time. Like, it moved on without Hulk Hogan. It moved on without Stone Cold. Moved on without The Rock, John Cena, CM Punk. Yeah, Taker, Vince McMahon. It just does. And so like, that's why it's like, if you don't feel like you know, if you think you're bigger than all of this, it's like, you can leave. Like, you can absolutely leave, and we're just gonna move on, and still, and the industry's just gonna move on, is what I'm trying to wrap up and say.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, I think we can go on to the next, to the pitches and predictions. First things first, is there anything else you guys would like to add before we do move on to the next topic?
No, I think I'm good.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
If you don't mind, I have a few more Rumble facts to share. Just
Sure,
a
no.
small handful.
Sure, no problem.
So leading on from my last bet, the longest time spent in a Royal Rumble match is 1 hour, 16 minutes, and 5 seconds, held by Daniel Bryan. And some people might call it a cheat, some people might not, but that was at the greatest Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia. The shortest time spent in a Rumble and quickest eliminated was Santino Marella at 1 second in 2009. The most time spent in the Royal Rumble match combined over the years is Chris Jericho 4 hours, 59 minutes, and 33 seconds. Just a few seconds short of 5 hours total. The most eliminations in a single Rumble match is held by Brock Lesnar and Braun Strowman. Braun Strowman in 2018 and Brock Lesnar in 2020 at 13 eliminations apiece. The record for the most eliminations in history is the man we were talking about earlier, Kane, at 46, who also holds the record for the most Rumble appearances at 20. And the last fact I have, which not a lot of people know, which I didn't even know until I looked it up, was the one which the WWE doesn't even talk about. They talk about all these Rumble facts, all these Rumble facts and stuff, but the one that WWE has never brought up, my recollection, is the man that holds the record for the most wrestlers it took to eliminate him is Viscera, aka Mabel, and it took 8 superstars to eliminate him in 2007.
Big
and
Daddy
that's all the facts
V.
I have for the Rumble, but I did my homework like I promised, and you go back and hear some of the facts I said earlier and add these facts to it. You got yourself a little bit of a Rumble facts book there.
Yeah, no, that was wonderful, and I love that you brought up that fact because I didn't know it either. And I mean, it makes so much sense when you think about it. You know, Big Daddy V, Mabel, Viscera, whatever you knew him as, you know, he had this presentation about him. You know, to put it nicely, he was such a huge guy, and I mean that was part of his mystique. But the thing about being a big guy in the industry is, you know, you see your great Khali's, your big shows, you know, they might be big athletes, but they were also tall. Whereas, you know, Big Daddy V, as I knew him growing up, you know, he had that low center of gravity, so it makes so much sense that, you know, they would need more people to get him over just because he couldn't just flip out of the ring like Khali could, you know. And, you know, with all the wrestling talent of a goldfish when it comes to Great Khali, you know, Viscera, you know, he needed people to really haul him over because he couldn't just flip over the rope.
For sure, for sure.
I forget who it was I was talking to. It might have been my dad, but I remember someone told me once, the Great Khali can't wrestle worse than that. Like, he can. And I told them, I was like, well, he actually trained people to be wrestlers. I think it is in India or whatever. And they were like, you mean to tell me that guy that can only do like one or two moves is train people? Ain't got a crock crap.
Well, and
damn, like,
the thing is, you know, they say that those who can't do teach. And I think that's definitely in, you know, in the Great Khali's sort of wheelhouse because, you know, I'm sure he's a fine enough, you know, mind when it comes to wrestling. I'm sure he has a wealth of knowledge to give, but I think his size really limits him to what he can do. You know, especially with
just also the fact that, you know, and we hear this all a lot. You know, I you know, me myself, I do appreciate technique when it comes into wrestling, but sometimes I think some fans can focus a little too much on technique, and you know, they'll say things about, you know, the flippy dippy guys or the giants, or oh, they can't wrestle, like all they do is flips or whatever. Well, for me, there's a place for that. Like even though they're not doing complete technical wrestling, it's still something that's well known in wrestling and still a part of it, and you know that it has its place. Like maybe you think it's better that, or you like technical wrestling better than just that, but I still think those people have their place in the industry.
Oh, absolutely. And I mean the extent of, you know, Khali's, you know, condition, where I do believe he has that gigantism disorder. You know, that's what I mean when I say it kind of limits him. Interestingly, though, with Big Show, you know, he was a very athletic, you know, wrestler coming into WWE, especially, you know, making the move over from WCW. There's an interesting story he tells where he's you know, running the ropes and, you know, getting ready for his, you know, first couple matches and what have you. And I think it was Pat Patterson that was, you know, working with him at the time. And Big Show, he comes in and he does a missile drop kick, like, you know, just like you would see a cruiserweight do. And I mean, he hits it and everything. He hits it beautifully. And Pat Patterson, I believe is who was watching him at the time, just looks at him. He's like, if I ever see you do that again, I'm gonna, you know, clean your clock, because you're a big guy. You're not supposed to do that.
I remember reading something about that. Yeah, and you gotta think too. Big Show was so, like, I don't know, like Big Show could just do so much things like that man his size shouldn't be able to do. I think when it comes back to the Viscera thing, Mabel thing, when you see your Bam Bam Bigelows, your Vaders, and your Big Shows, when you see them, and then you see a guy like Viscera, you kind of think like maybe this could be my next big guy. And you know, just because you're a big guy doesn't mean you're gonna have the it factor like Andre or Big Show did. But I think people like Big Show, Vader, and Bam Bigelow, I think they kind of broke the standard barrier for what it meant to be a big guy, and doing things like you Rey Mysterio or another cruiserweight doing. But Viscera, like, I mean, like I said, I appreciate and respect everything these wrestlers do and give, but I think just like Khali and a lot of these other big guys, I think Viscera had a lot of limitations and was kind of expected a little bit more out of him than what he could really give.
All right. And anything you want to add, Jesse, before we move into the next topic, or Joey?
No, I mean, one guy
so
I will
we can go straight into the pitches and predictions. So how this works is that well, we all kind of came a little different. We'll figure out the format later. This is kind of the first episode is a little confusion, but we have pitches where stuff that we want to see, and we're gonna have 3 of them. Stuff that we want to see happen, and stuff that we kind of, as fans, would love to see. Then we have the predictions part, where we go more into what we think's going to happen, what we think's going to come out of it, and or whatever we have it. And with that, we will have we're gonna have a point system, and for the predictions part, and for those, we will add up the points at the end of the Royal Rumble, and then we'll end up whoever has the most points at we'll explain the point system later, but whoever has the most points at the end of the night with their predictions, then we'll be the RPD digital media champion of the podcast and of the world champion.
Yeah,
so we will. Anything you guys want to add or that I missed?
No, I think you covered it pretty well. I can go into a little bit more. When it comes to the pitches, to kind of borrow a phrase from a great podcast, which is the Cultaholic Boys over on YouTube. They always say their pitches are what they want to happen, not what they think is gonna happen. So I mean, that's really what the pitches is going to be about. And then predictions, that's where we're going to go more in depth and say, this is who I think is going to win. And, like you said, with the point system, everybody, they get their, predictions. You predict the winner. If you predict the winner, you get a point. And then each of us also gets a super prediction, which is worth 3 points. So if you are super sure that somebody is going to be the winner of a certain match, you make that your super prediction. If you win it, you get 3 points.
And so, go ahead, Joey.
I do want to add that the Royal Rumble will take place on January 28, 2023. It's going to be on Peacock, the network outside the U.S., and this will be the 4th Rumble from San Antonio, Texas, following the 97, 2007, and 2017 events.
Yes, and just as a reminder, Ring Post Daily will be live with our reactions on YouTube for that. So, please feel free, if you are listening, to join us. You can kind of watch it along with us. Obviously, for copyright reasons, we can't show the video, but we can obviously, react with you. You can be in our chat room, and we'd love to hear your thoughts and your reactions.
I do want to add, though, for the first live editions, I may not be there live on recordings. I'm just now getting to the podcasting and everything, so I get set up a bit. So if you just see Ty and Messi there and you don't see me, hey, I'm still watching, I'm tweeting, I'm enjoying the rumble with you guys. Even if I'm not there in person, I'm there in spirit. So just keep that in mind.
Great. Okay, so we can go into so for now, since we haven't really figured out a format, or maybe there was a bit of confusion, some of us have separated our pitches and predictions, but and some of us have actually put them together, but we each should have about 3 of them. So I think we could start off with we'll end with the super prediction, like the third. We'll each go round by round and just explain our first, second, and third, and the last one will be the super one.
Yeah.
So I think
what we'll do is how about this? We'll go through and we'll each give 3 predictions or pitches for the show, just kind of our ideas and such. And then after we're done with 3 each, then I'll go through and I'll read off the official match card, and we can give our predictions then. That way we don't miss any matches. All right.
Okay. Do any of you want to start, or would you just prefer I start?
I mean, I could start if you'd like.
All right. Yeah, go ahead, Jesse.
All right. So for my first Royal Rumble pitch, I would like to see X-Pac finally get his Rumble appearance. He's been training for one for the last couple of years, and Vince has kind of always snubbed him. Especially with last year, it made absolutely no sense why they couldn't have got him in there. Last year's men's rumble was
Yeah.
such a disappointment, such a letdown. And I mean, you had guys in there like, and we don't want to, put any wrestler down, but when you have the inexperienced guys in there like your Madcap Mosses and your Rich Hollands of the world before either of them really got their time, I think that would have been a great place to put X-Pac. He's wrestled as recently as March of 2022 in GCW. I mean, he's kept himself in great shape. He hasn't kind of let himself go to ring rust. So I think if we're gonna do it, it's gotta be now, because we obviously he is getting up there in his years, and we want to get him in before the time has passed.
What's funny that you brought Sami Zayn earlier up in the Rumble, because Sami Zayn for years now has actually been lobbying for a match between X-Pac and WWE thing.
Yes.
And I think it'd be somewhat like, even if it's just for that brief little stint, have Sami and X-Pac in there, have X-Pac come into this thing, and here comes the honorary use and eliminates it. Hell, you want to make a match out of that moment for Mania, I'm all down for it. Give these the match they want. But, like you said, Vince has stubbed over the years. Now it's situation and Shawn Michaels are both head of NXT WWE Creative. Maybe he can get some of that DX pool.
Yeah, I mean there is an alternate universe somewhere where we have babyface, underdog of the underground Sami Zayn as NXT champion fighting X-Pac and just getting absolutely destroyed.
Multiverse.
Yes, that is in the multiverse somewhere, and to be a fly in the wall of that ring would be amazing. But that's my first pitch for the Royal Rumble. Is I would like to see X-Pac get his last Royal Rumble appearance.
Okay, and you can go into your second one if you'd like, Jesse.
Okay, yeah. I mean, if you want me to just go through, I will.
I would just say the last one. Maybe I don't know which one is yours, or you could say when you announce your super prediction, but it doesn't have to be the last one.
Yeah. So these aren't the predictions; these are just the pitches.
Oh, okay. I see.
Yeah. So, but we can just go through and we can, run through each of them. My second pitch for the Royal Rumble is I would like to see Rey Mysterio eliminate his son Dom. And the way I want to see that happen is I've kind of had this in my own headcanon. I've, planned out the whole match. And I want to see a scenario where we see Damian Priest and Dominic in at the same time, and they're just working over a single person. Like, say there's only 3 people in the ring, like say we have I know he's injured right now, but like a Johnny Gargano or some like a babyface in there, and they're just working him over, and finally the buzzer goes off and next person in is Rey Mysterio. He just comes out and he absolutely just destroys Priest, and then Dom tries to fight back, and Rey finally has enough of his son's shit and just eliminates him. Doesn't even throw hands with him, just throws his ass out. And I think that would definitely set up a great WrestleMania match with them and a feud.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I don't.
Dominic would be getting what he deserves, like his dad tossing him that WrestleMania match, because if this was like real life and not wrestling, and someone was doing this to their dad, beating him up and going to their house and doing an invasion with their girlfriend, and like, dude, you'd be hearing this all over the news. Like, it'd be a crazy thing. And in wrestling, you kind of got to get that as a script. You got to kind of put yourself in, like, okay, this is real. This is what we're seeing. So everything Dominic put his dad through, I think he deserves at least a good little butt kicking and elimination at the Rumble from his dad.
Absolutely.
For sure. And then Jesse, you go into your third pitch. If Joe, you don't have anything else to add to that second one, then yep, Jesse, you can go into your third one.
Yeah, and so then my third pitch, it's kind of split off into branches if you want to think of it as a tree. It's basically what I want to see in the women's match, in the women's Royal Rumble. There's 3 things. First off, I would like to see the return of Asuka but not as Asuka is known by the WWE Universe. I want to see her return as her Kana persona from NJPW, Murder Clown Asuka. I think that could really elevate her right now. She's obviously grown stale over the last couple of years, not by her fault. It's a matter of booking, and obviously, they have to get other women, opportunities as well. So I think if we just bring in the absolute force that is Murder Clown Kana Asuka, I think that could be a really neat addition into the women's division right now, especially on Raw.
Absolutely.
Then I would also like to see one of the hottest free agents out there right now, who's rumored to be coming back to WWE. I want to see Chelsea Green in there. I think, if they want to reintroduce her to the WWE Universe, which, if she's coming in, they're going to have to at some point. I think the best place to do it is to give her a prominent spot in the Rumble. I don't think she's going to win it, obviously, but I would like to see her in, maybe a top 4 or something like that. Give her a couple of wins. Make her feel important.
Absolutely.
And then for the last, I would like to see the return of Naomi. Obviously, Naomi has been tied with Sasha Banks, aka Mercedes Moné now. She's been tied for months with her. But, as Mercedes has moved on, now we're all left wondering, well, what about Naomi? Where is she? And also all signs point to her still being with the company. She's still on the active roster, whereas Monet has been moved to the alumni section. So if they're gonna bring her,
when I still remember Sasha Banks. I'm just meant to get her out of my head as Sasha Banks, but when I saw her make her debut in Japan, Naomi, there was pictures of Naomi excited outside the arena with her. So,
oh yeah, and Bailey was there too.
Her sometime down the road.
Yeah, and the thing is it's fine for them to be there in support of her, but obviously Naomi's got her own career and she needs to move on in a meaningful way too. And I don't think that NJPW is the spot for her. I think her spot is in WWE.
I think it was such a terrible situation to be make Stan Sasha Banks. You go from being a tag team champion to this tag team duo that's walking out and doing this and that. I think there might be some regrets on Naomi's end at least, and it's just people put her there with Sasha. It kind of, I don't know. I think it kind of soured her name and tagged with Sasha's name. So hopefully she can come back and redeem herself and maybe be seen in the light that we all know can be seen.
Oh yeah, and she was one of the first SmackDown Women's Champions. Once they did make the split. So I would really like to see her kind of return to prominence too. I think that SmackDown Women's roster is paper thin, and Charlotte is going to need some challengers. So I think that would be a great spot for her.
Yeah.
Because I don't think that the Women's Royal Rumble, I don't think that winner is going to be going after SmackDown Women's Champion. But we'll get to that in a little bit.
For sure. Anything else for you I wanted to add, Joey?
Well, like he said, we do need some new faces or old faces in this predicament to come back for the women's division. Charlotte's already ran through the former champion Rousey for the title, and starting at a bit, she's in a feud with it looks like right now. So, before you know it, she's gonna run through everybody, and she's gonna need some faces. So if they're gonna bring her back, Naomi back at any point in time, I think it needs to be sooner rather than later because, like Jesse said, we're going to need to see some new faces and new challenges for that title. And Naomi, at least she has some, what's the word I'm looking for? At least
name recognition?
Yeah, recognition to her name and stuff. So at least bringing her back, even if we brought her back as a heel or anything, at least we can say, oh, we know who Naomi is. She deserves this or whatever, but I agree. We need to bring in some new faces, and Naomi would be a good one to bring back in for Charlotte.
Yeah, for sure. And so I think for now, if you guys are all right with this, we'll probably separate it where me or Joey will go next with just our pitches, and then we'll get back into the predictions. Is that fine?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean,
all right. So I guess I'll go next for now, and so my pitches, I'd say, because I kind of combined them a little bit, but if I were to separate them, my pitches would be a couple of, I'd say, returns, and Naomi was one of them. She's just always been my favorite, and I've always enjoyed what she's done, and I just remember only because I've really like watched her since she was in NXT, like back when NXT was pretty much portrayed like a game show, and I used to like tune in every week and watch that, and to see where she's growing now, I think she'd also be just a big same reasons you guys said. Like, she's a well-known name, she's been in there for a while, and she just would be a great opponent for any champion, and and still has a lot to prove as well, is just what I'd add. But I agree with both of you what you said about Naomi.
Well, and she's an amazing athlete too.
No, Naomi still has years and years ahead of her, so I think her coming back and giving her a brand new start, I think you're looking at someone who still has years on them and could provide tons of entertainment, tons of movements and title wins that we still have yet to see.
Yeah, and so Jesse, do you have anything to add?
No, like I said, she's a hell of an athlete, and I agree with you both. She has a ton still left to give to the industry, and I think WWE is the home for her. I don't think she kind of has the wanderlust that Mercedes does. I think she's in a great spot with WWE, especially with her husband obviously there, in a very prominent role. So I think she's going to be one of those WWE lifers, and I look forward to seeing what she does next.
Yeah, and so I'll go following that. I think I'll go into my second sort of pitch. It's another return. This is just a return I want to see. I really do not know if the details of the injury. But one person I've been waiting to see come back is really Big E. I've been missing Big E for a while. He was one of my favorites when he was here, and he's just like Naomi, I'd say. He still has so much to prove. He barely dipped his foot into the World Championship. I was so happy when that happened, but it ended too soon. I think he deserves longer reigns, and he could definitely be a contender. And like I said, I'm not sure of the nature of his injury, and of course I'd want the best for him and not to rush anything. But I think Big E's one of those names that have kind of been forgotten about for a while now, and me personally, I'd love to see him return in the Rumble. And I have my predictions, but I wouldn't mind seeing Big E win in the Rumble and going on to WrestleMania.
At least coming back and showing, hey, I'm all right and I'm back. But like you said, I've also been from time to time I'm watching Raw, SmackDown, or even the New Day on NXT. It's weird because when you see Kofi and Xavier out there, it's like that third person, which is Big E, is missing. And whenever something will happen where it just brings Big E up to my mind, and I'm sitting here thinking, man, I hope he comes back and hope he's doing better. From what I last heard, his recovery ain't going the way it should be. But Big E did respond saying that if he's not able to return to wrestling, he's accepted that. He's okay with that because he became world champion. He's made history. So it is kind of nice to know that in Big E's mind, if the doctors say you can't wrestle no more, it's kind of nice to know that he's accepted that and he's okay with that, and that he'll still contribute what he can, even if it isn't in the ring like he preferred to be. But yeah, like you said, to see him come back at the Rumble, for me, whether he wins or loses the Rumble match, see him come back and hear that wall and the kid on the front, that would be a big moment for me. That'd be as big as, someone else coming in as a surprise entrant.
Oh, absolutely.
That'd be just big.
And
it could be a big pop for the crowd too. Like, they would just love to see Big E come back and know that he's all right and everything.
And he does have quite a bit left to give to the industry if his, unfortunately, if his career is out. He was part of the tryouts that they had over SummerSlam weekend. I know he was there with, I believe it was with William Regal and Triple H. So, I mean, he's got a great wrestling mind. I could definitely see him in a talent scout position, or, definitely as a producer. Just, there's so many different slots that you could put Big E in if he isn't even wrestling. And, I mean, obviously, we all would love to see him wrestle again. But, if he is, in a good spot mentally with that, and, I believe it's in March here where he's going to be getting some more x-rays, and that's when they start making decisions. But, if they do make that decision that, hey, it's not in your best interest to go wrestle again, I think, like you said, he's in a good place mentally for it, and I think we're going to see a lot more of him.
For sure.
When I hear from other wrestlers, to be cheeky here, but the New Day does this whole power positivity thing, and I hear that Big E backstage is just, he's like someone special to be around backstage. He's always happy. He makes everyone smile and laugh. And a lot of wrestlers have said that he makes work not feel like work. He shows up and he's always happy. He's happy to be there and everything. And I think just having his presence backstage would make, even if he came back in a backstage role, I think the people back there could benefit from him just being there. And I remember even when he broke his neck, when Ridge Holland went to the hospital and apologized to him for it, he didn't even have any blame to put on Ridge.
Oh no, definitely.
He didn't have any blame. He wasn't mad or nothing, and everyone just says like having him around is a joy. So if we can't have his presence on our screen, and they announced that he was doing a backstage role, I would even be happy with that, just knowing that he's connected to the business somehow and make people smile and laugh, whether it's on TV or in the back of the scenes.
For sure, and we can wish you the best, but we don't want, we want you to make sure you're healed up, and but we do miss you. Just know that if you're watching this. So, but okay, I'll just go into my last little pitch here. Something I want to see is I really want to see the climax of where this Bray Wyatt, Uncle Howdy, and everything going down with this pitch black match. It's been, I think we're we're getting predictions of what I think is going to happen later, but I really wanted to they're still they're slowly revealing it week by week, but there's still just a lot we don't know, who Uncle Howdy actually is, and there's just so many unanswered questions. So one thing I'd like to see is this be the Royal Rumble, the match with LA Knight, kind of be the climax, and also just presenting what Wyatt's really gonna do, what he's planning on going in, and what how he's gonna start moving forward. That's what I'd like to see.
Yeah, no, I mean, they definitely need to start making some decisions, with Wyatt. I don't think we're gonna see him as a weekly wrestler or something like that. I think they need to keep him as a special attraction. I've always kind of I've always painted him in the light as sort of later years Undertaker, where they bring him in for the big four and the special matches. And I think that would be a good spot for him. I don't want to see him going for a world title again. I think they need to keep him as far away from a title as humanly possible, just because I don't think he needs it, and he has more benefit, working outside of that, in the upper mid card.
All right. Go ahead, Joey.
The thing I have to add is funny, okay, this podcast is cool because you get to voice, we get to voice our opinions on stuff, and it's crazy that I'm doing this podcast with you guys now because this subject, it got brought up in one of the wrestling groups I'm on Facebook, and someone was talking about this exact subject, about Bray Wyatt, and this was before the Mountain Dew Hit Black match was even brought to light, but they were saying that they think his next match is going to be at the Rumble. And like I said on that post, I'll say here what I said then. At some point, Bray Wyatt's got to wrestle, and it's obviously going to be at the Rumble. Do I think it's going to be like a regular match? No. But at some point, Bray's got to wrestle again, and this is either going to suck really bad or it's going to be really good.
Well,
and I'm hoping the best for Bray. I am. I hope he's been. I hope he's been working and training and put on the best match he can. I'll respect him regardless. But his first official match is from bell to bell comes. It's gonna either suck or be really good. And everybody, and when he comes into this match, everybody can everybody can really expect this major performance because it's going to be his first real match back. So I think everybody's just going to have to take it with a grain of salt and have an open mind to it. But God, I hope it's as good as he can make it. I hope it's what he wants it to be. Like I said, it's either going to suck or it's going to be really, really good.
All right.
Great, and so we can move in to Joey. We're gonna you can name some of your pitches. You know what you want to see, what you really how just exactly what I just said. What you want to see. Go ahead, Joey.
Well, mine's pretty much really quick. My first pitch I would like to see is I hear that we're gonna hear some new WWE 2K14 content. We're gonna hear some news regarding the new game coming out. So one of the pitches I would like to see at the Rumble, since it's a big event and everything, is I'd like to see them reveal the cover star for the game. Before I move on to my second one, who would you guys like to see be on the cover of the next WWE 2K video game?
That's a good one.
If I have to,
if they announce it at the Rumble, who would you be excited if it was your pick superstar? Who would you pick to see revealed?
I have an idea. I'm not sure if I want to say it or not, because it almost sounds like a pitch, but it's not a pitch.
What's your opinion? Go ahead.
I would love to see Sami Zayn as the cover star, and not only as the cover star, but I want to see them work that into the story of Roman's jealousy of Sami being bigger than Roman right now. Because you can see those cracks forming. And, Roman on SmackDown, the other week, he was, getting jealous of, Sami's reaction with the crowd and everything. And, Roman, his character is a very, petty kind of mob boss, mentality where you are not allowed to be bigger than me. And I think that would really set off the powder keg of, Sami and Roman.
Roman Reigns going on a tirade, like, I should be cheered for, I should be on video game, I should. Like, I'm the truth. Okay. That's awesome. Even though, it sounds unrealistic, if it did happen, promos and the air we could get from Roman would just, it'd be worth it.
All right, and any other pitches from you, Joey?
I guess the other pitch I would like to see, or at least in my mind, is I would like to see, maybe like we said earlier about Big E. I would like to see someone like Naomi and Big E come back instead of getting someone else come in for, I don't want to see someone come in just for the Rumble and then leave. If anything, that's going to tie into my other something soon, but if anything, I'd like to see someone come in and then, continue from there and get back on track with their career. Not so much come in and do a big pop and then, okay, well, they left. I'm all in for celebrities who take Bad Bunny and Logan Paul taking it seriously and coming in. I don't want to see someone like Drew Carey come in and do a little thing and then leave and waste a Rumble spot on that. So I guess my other pitch would be bring someone back that's gonna lead off of instead of bring someone in and then there's a waste spot.
Yeah, exactly. It's as good as it's cool to see Bad Bunny in the Royal Rumble, and it was a great moment. But in the back of our heads, while we're watching that, we're like, okay, he's here, but he's not gonna win the Rumble. So having someone, if they return, I think that'd be good. If okay, they return, and that they're also gonna do some future stuff in general. But what if what if they decide to really have based off this return, just have him win the whole thing. You know what I'm saying? So I think having more returns like that would be definitely better.
I'm telling you right now, if I was a wrestler back in 2001, where Jim Carrey took Time spot, and you two guys are out, Drew Carey's in. I understand it's wrestling, but from a realistic standpoint, if I was someone like Crash Holly or Hardcore Holly, and I wasn't in the Rumble, and I heard Drew Carey was, realistically, I would beat the crap out of you. I'd beat the hell out of you and be like, well, I'm taking your spot now, because it's bullcrap. But I mean, really, as a wrestler, you see any celebrity or anyone come in for a one-time thing, you got realistic terms. I'm gonna make sure you don't even make it out of this arena without going to the hospital, because I want to make sure you don't take that Rumble spot, and I do. I'm here.
All right. Before we move on, I would just like to piggyback off what you said there with Drew Carey. I am willing to be sports entertained with a Drew Carey spot if he comes out to the Price is Right theme. I think that would just be the absolute pinnacle of sports entertainment. Just having Drew Carey come out and he's got the Price is Right theme, and he's got one of the female models on one of his arms, and he's got one of the male models on the other arm. He just walk him to the ring.
Okay. So I'll retract my statement. If Drew Carey comes out the Price is Right theme and eliminates himself again, okay, that might be the only celebrity Rumble appearance that I might be like, happy to go. I enjoyed that. So I retract my statement for that one thing you said.
Okay.
All right.
So I think we can move into the predictions. We're gonna go in the same order: Jesse, then me, then Joey. I think just to make it a little bit quick, we could have we can say if you have three, whatever is the super prediction, you could say last, and then kind of just make the first two. Just make them a little bit quick. So we'll just. We could talk more on the super predictions.
Yeah, well, the way I'll do it is I'll just go through the 5 different matches, and you can just give your prediction for the winner for each match.
Oh, okay, that's a good one. Okay.
So, and I can run through this. So first up for our predictions, we have the Bray Wyatt versus LA Knight Mountain Dew Pitch Black match. LA Knight on Twitter. He said that all signs point to this being a street fight in the dark. Just to give a little bit of context of what the Pitch Black match is. So who are you guys thinking for a winner for them?
I gotta go Bray, and just because I think his first match back, and he should just win. But also so I'd say that. But as far as here, I'll just explain my prediction for the match itself. I think that, like I said, how I wanted to see the climax of this match, and really put in perspective of what Bray's going to be doing and where he's going with and what the character is, and what the White Six is, and it's going to answer all these unanswered questions. But the way I think it's going to happen is kind of there's gonna be a point in the match where the lights are just gonna go out. I don't know, I've never seen a pitch black match, of course, but once the lights, there's gonna be a moment where maybe the lights are on and you can see, but once the lights are completely off, I think something's gonna happen to where maybe a new character is gonna come out, Uncle Howdy is gonna be revealed, something, I don't know what the climax is, or the Fiend's gonna return, or just something's gonna happen that's gonna be like, okay, this is, now we know exactly where all this has led to, and that's gonna like I'm basing this off of pretty much watching Bray's promo last week. He was I just remember him saying he was, when he was in the rocking chair, bringing back to his the Eater of World days. I just remember just hearing him say this, and it stuck with me. He's like, at the end of the promo, he tells LA Knight, when the lights go out, run. So I think whatever's gonna happen, the lights will go out for a little bit, but when they turn back on, something's gonna happen, like whether the Fiend is returned, you reveal he's Uncle Howdy. Maybe Alexa Bliss could get involved, but that's my sort of prediction for the match. And then after that, kind of, it's going to be 1, 2, 3, and match is going to be over. But like I said, it's a pitch black match. Like, there's nothing. It's a street fight, but you don't know what to expect. But I do think if that were to happen, that climax is going to happen, or where, like it could be a number of things, but that's where I think it's going to go down.
All right, so you got Bray Wyatt. Joey, what is your prediction for the Mountain Dew? Make sure we get the labeling in there. Pitch black match.
Well, first off, if the fans aren't at least offered one for each can of pitch black Dew, I'm gonna be angry. But no, I think Bray's gonna win it. If anything, I'd like to see something where, even if LA Knight loses, he gains something from the match. But I don't know, this Bray Wyatt thing on SmackDown is just so bizarre and crazy that I think it's the closest thing to the Mankind and Undertaker things that we've seen in the past. So this is the closest thing to the things that we've ever seen. And I'd really just like to see at one LA Knight gain something from this. And I'd like to see Bray Wyatt win. I think he is gonna win, but I expect something crazy to make people go WTF? What the F just happened? So right. I gotta say my prediction for the match is something unexpected, something make you say WTF, and I think Bray's gonna win.
All right, so you got Bray Wyatt also. I will offer a condescending opinion. I believe it is going to be LA Knight winning the match. And my reasoning for that is this. From all signs really are pointing to Bray Wyatt versus Uncle Howdy at WrestleMania. I think with the type of long-term storytelling they do with Bray Wyatt, I think this is where they set up his WrestleMania opponent. And so I'm thinking, at some point in the match, we do have the lights go out, and then they come back on to, whatever extent the pitch black is. We're thinking it's just going to be a spotlight or something. But I think we see.
Can't you see Bray Wyatt at the end of the match winning, doing a Stone Cold Beer Bash, except Mountain Dew Black?
Yeah, but anyways, I think we're gonna see Uncle Howdy kind of cost Bray the match, and I think this is gonna be a big win for LA Knight. I think it's something that he's gonna be able to go and move forward from, and I think we're gonna be able to see another side of Bray. Whereas he's been this tortured soul this whole time, all the way from Extreme Rules, and now we're gonna see even more of a tortured soul come out, and the almost self-doubt and the pity come out of him.
That's a good one.
So Bray Wyatt 2 and LA Knight got a vote. It's Bray 2 and LA 1 in this scenario.
All right.
I think we can go into the next match. If you guys don't have anything else to add, Jesse, you can name the next match, and we'll start from there.
Yeah. All right. So next one is going to be the Raw Women's Championship: Bianca Belair versus Alexa Bliss. The tortured Alexa Bliss. We'll go with Tyreek first. Who do you think is going to be the winner?
I mean, I just think Bianca Belair is just one of the best athletes, whatever, sports entertainers, wrestlers, whatever you want to call her. She's just on another level right now. And this is the reason I'm going with Bianca is just because we've seen this plenty of times where the bigger, the stronger, the more athletic person is they're so, and they're the champion. They're very they've been dominant, and then you have the underdog who maybe a little smaller in stature, who doesn't match up to the physical capabilities, but can do the mind games and the get into the champion's head. You see things like Braun Breaker and Grayson Waller. It's the same sort of story that's been going on forever. But I just think Bianca's, knowing Bianca and how she's dealt in her past matches, sometimes it happens to where the person who doesn't match up physically does get into the head of the bigger opponent and ends up getting the title. but I just think we've seen a few times where that's tried to happen with Bianca, and she just transfers that into more adrenaline, more energy, and just just proves herself why she's the EST, and regardless of the mind games. But like I said, Alexa Bliss has definitely gone into the head of Bianca. Like what she's one of those one of her opponents who's gotten has played the mind games the best, I'd say, when it comes to Bianca and her past opponents, and really getting into her head. And because it could happen, Alexa Bliss all this could work, and it ends up Bianca's too emotional, can't handle the mind games, and then Alexa ends up winning. So that's my pitch. But go ahead.
All right.
I agree with that statement.
So Tyreek, you got Bianca. What about you, Joey? Who do you think's gonna come out of this match winner?
Well, you can call me biased on the situation if you want, but I got her with Bianca. I got to see Bianca live a couple times. I've got to see some great matches of hers, not just in person, but on TV. Bianca to me is one of them stories that, she wanted this since she was a little girl, she was a kid, and she got it. She got there. The whole Alexa Bliss thing, I don't know where that's going. I can begin to tell you, but I could go with Bianca on this one. I think she's just dominated the entire Raw division. Anyone that's gotten in her way, I kind of like. I really enjoy the whole Bring It On type of character or person she is. She accepts all comers and goes out there with 100% each match, each time, title or no title. And I would personally like to see her make it to WrestleMania as champion and take it from there. So I can go with Bianca on this one.
All right, so 2 votes for Bianca, and I'm going to make it a third. I think we definitely see Bianca as the new John Cena. I think she transcends gender when it comes to that. I think she is the most prolific babyface that they have. You see the power, the intensity, the charisma when it comes to the volunteer work, the media work, everything. She is John Cena, and so I do not think that she's going to be losing here. I do think that we're getting to that, and I think that we're going to know who's going to be beating her down the road on this night, but I don't think it's going to be Alexa.
I can't help it, but when I hear Bianca's music play on TV or at an event, I go kind of crazy because I love the theme song. When I hear Bianca coming out, I don't know, you could be sitting there at a wrestling event and not really feel any energy or anything, but when Bianca comes out, it's like, oh yeah, I'm ready for it. So I'm looking forward to Bianca's match, and I think she'll be the one to take it. I think she'll be the one to win it.
All right, so that's 3 votes for Bianca. Next up, we're going to go with the Women's Royal Rumble. So, Tyreek, who do you think is going to be winning the Women's Royal Rumble this year?
Well, it's just, for me, there's just one clear choice, and it's just when I think about I agreed with what you said earlier. I think whoever wins this is going to go face Bianca at WrestleMania, and for me, there's no other clear choice than Rhea Ripley. She has just been so dominant. To me, she's one of the top heels on Raw, men and women. But who can really dispute that? It's like, I wanted her to win last year, and I wasn't mad that she didn't. I was just more. That was more of my pitch is like, oh, this is what I want because this is the match I want to set up. But just the heat she's gotten and how well she's been as a heel, and her persona she's doing now. She doesn't back down from women. She doesn't back down from men. She's just this power force, and just I just see her as she's trying to think of a good example. You compare Bianca to John Cena. Well, John Cena always had the perfect who's I'd say Randy Orton would be John Cena's best rival.
The perfect
Randy's
foil.
Heel work.
Absolutely.
And it's like Rhea is that to Bianca. Like, I see them having multiple matches throughout the next 10, 12, 20, or however long it takes, and I think both of them are going to go back and forth. And like I said, because I like both and because they're both really good at what they do, I wouldn't be mad if like Rhea went on to win the title at WrestleMania, and I also wouldn't be mad if Bianca and that's just a match I want to see. So I'd say I wanted Rhea to win last year, and I wanted to win this year. So
Man, I'd pay some money to see China versus Rhea Ripley.
that'd be fire.
Oh my god, I'd probably spend 2 paychecks to see that one.
So Tyreek, you sound pretty sure about that winner there. Do you think you want to put your super prediction on it, or are you going to keep it?
Yes. That's my super prediction. Rhea Ripley's going to walk away with the win, and maybe I didn't really think about what the super prediction was, but now that I think about it, like I'm pretty sure on this one. So this one's going to be my super prediction. Rhea Ripley walks away the winner in the Royal Rumble. I mean, I hope she's in the Rumble. That'd be terrible if she wasn't. But I'd say I'm pretty set on this one.
I love your pick on Rhea winning.
Yeah. All right. So we got one pick for Rhea. Joey, who do you see winning the Women's Royal Rumble this year?
Well, I don't want to copy Jenny here, but I've been thinking since we only have 4 women announced for the Rumble, for me, it's also Rhea. I love the whole Dominic and Mommy thing. I know it's not wrestling related, but I'm gonna throw it out there. One of my bosses from my workplace, her name's Robin. I've been calling her Mommy since I started working here, and she said, "I'm not your mom," and I tell people like, "That's my mommy," and I would just totally bring that from what I see on TV. I just totally bring it to work and call her mommy and stuff, and she just think it was like absolutely bizarre. That was crazy that I was doing that because she doesn't know where it's coming from. So the whole mommy thing I'm a fan of because I brought it into my real life, my workplace, and just rolled with it. And Rhea Ripley, like Jesse said, she's probably one of the hottest talents, male or female, on Raw. And I don't know if I see any of Judgment Day at this point getting any big WrestleMania moments or victories. That's to see and to save for down the road. But if they wanted to give the Judgment Day some credentials credit, I think having Rhea really win the whole match and go on to Mania and defeat Bianca, I wouldn't be sad to see that. Especially if somehow we tied the Dominic thing into it. Dominic helped her win and just make the whole Mommy and Dommy thing to add more to that story. I'd be all down for it. So I gotta go with Rhea on the Women's Rumble.
All right, that's 2 votes for Rhea. I don't really want to piggyback too much off of you guys, but that's who I did have for my pick is Rhea Ripley winning. I think she's going to go on to WrestleMania. I think she's going to win versus Bianca, and I think if we really want to give the women's main event a true main event feel, I think we do it big, and I want to see Rhea get the Triple H treatment when it comes to an entrance this year at WrestleMania. I think, she's got Motionless in White does her intro music, so I think it would be great to see a live performance from them and to give her the full treatment, make that her big moment, and I think that this is where it's going to start. Another pick that's kind of a dark horse in this, and obviously none of us have picked it, but
I love that horses.
Another one though is going to be Becky Lynch. She actually just rose just a bit higher than Rhea Ripley actually in some betting odds. So it's going to be interesting to see whether or not she could maybe pull out a win. I was surprised, but I don't see it happening. I think this is Rhea's year.
For sure. Okay, I think we can go into the next match.
Yep, so next up, let's see here. We got...
Let's do the math, though, on this. For the Rumble match predictions, it's 3 and everybody else 0. Korea.
Yeah, yeah. So then we have the men's Royal Rumble. Tyreek, who do you think is winning?
Yeah, this is like, man, I thought about it a lot, and it's just really
There's two clear front runners to win it.
yeah,
We all know who they are.
Yeah, pretty much. And just to clarify, we're all thinking the same thing. I'm thinking Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins.
Ooh, oh no, sir.
Oh, okay.
Cody Rhodes and The Rock.
It's well. Here's the thing. This is my thinking of why I chose both of them. If I had to choose one, it would be Cody Rhodes. I think, just having a new Rumble winner, and as far as like just one of the biggest baby faces in the one of the biggest baby faces in the industry right now, and the fact that the fans are so behind him, and a lot of people would love to see him win the title. I say Seth Rollins just because Seth is one of my favorites, but if I'm as a prediction, I'm saying Cody Rhodes. I just don't think it's time for, and my reasoning is because I don't think this WrestleMania, I think they waited a little too long. This WrestleMania, I don't want The Rock to win the Rumble and just go face Roman at WrestleMania. I think there's a whole storyline for that. So here's kind of my thinking, and I think Cody Rhodes wins it. He goes on, faces Roman, and actually wins the title. But The Rock returns at WrestleMania, costing Roman the title, and we have a year build to next WrestleMania. Because I don't know. I just don't think that Rock's gonna return. And even if he did, I'd want longer story building. I want more time to build up, because that match is just way too big. Like it'd be big either way, but because the story's kind of built into itself. But I want more layers to it to make it as big as it possibly could be. Same way with like John Cena and The Rock in 2012. It's like they had a year build, and also I only say that because if we go into a match where Rock versus Roman, we kind of come to the conclusion like, damn, I don't think Rock's gonna beat Roman and end the streak for the title because he's only there for so many times. So I think if Rock would show up at this year's WrestleMania, cost Roman the title, that starts off the feud. Cody's the new champ, and just and Roman's not champ anymore. When that match does happen, the title's not on the line, so it's like if we don't think Rock's gonna win, that won't even be there. It can go back and forth and be a more intriguing match. So I'm picking Cody, I'd say, but I think this is a small prediction for how I think it's going to happen. Of course, we know Cody's going to come back and everybody thinks he's going to win, but I think they're going to really go with wanting to prove that, or have him really earn it since he's been gone for so long. So this is a bold prediction, but I feel like he's going to come out at 1, 2, or 3. Like, I just think that he's going to go through the whole Rumble. Then whenever Seth Rollins comes in, at some point, he may put him through the announce table. He may do something, hit him with a sledgehammer, just really injure him, having the stretcher come out, taking him to the back, and then Cody comes back out. Sort of similar with Roman Reigns in 2016, but Cody kind of comes back immediately. But it's like, he went through so much damage, and everybody thinks he's gonna win, and then when he's stretchered out, maybe he's not gonna. Everybody's thinking maybe he's not gonna win this, or this ain't gonna happen. They're gonna go with someone else. But for me, I thought about it. I'm like, who would I honestly put in that spot in the main event of WrestleMania against Roman Reigns? And is there anybody better? Because I like the whole baby face versus heel. I wouldn't mind seeing a heel in there, but I just think that match is just perfect, and it also sets up for the next year's WrestleMania. All right. Honorable mention, I'd love to see Bobby Lashley versus Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. That'll just be that. I hope we get that eventually. I don't care if it's not for the title, but I've just been waiting for that to happen. So that's my prediction: is Cody Rhodes.
All right, so Cody Rhodes.
I do want to add, I like your picks on Rollins and Rhodes, Cody Rhodes is hot, but damn, Seth Rollins is so hot right now. I mean, the man doesn't even need a title, to be one of the A-plus guys on the roster.
Oh, absolutely.
Cody Rhodes, and I've seen this like almost everywhere wrestling related. A lot of people complaining, well, WWE should have brought in Cody as a surprise entrant. What a lot of people don't realize is this is called what we call marketing. Okay, announcing Cody Rhodes is a way to get tickets, a way to get sales. So for a lot of fans, yeah, it would have been a nice surprise to see Cody return. But to announce him and get maybe a few more ticket spots, a few more merchandise spots, you gotta think of the market standpoint coming from. I do like your picks. Seth and Cody are two hottest guys on the roster right now. Take picks on that.
All right.
Yeah.
So then,
one more thing, and then I'll let you. We could move on to your guys' predictions. But I just wanted to add the reason I say Seth Rollins is, as well is just I agree with everything you just said. It's like he's just been on a roll, and nobody's really getting that type of that connection with the fans, and just is over. It's just so over right now. So I wouldn't mind if there'd be a triple threat at the in the main event of WrestleMania, but if Seth could figure out a way to get into that, maybe the Elimination Chamber. But if I had to choose a one-on-one match, I'd probably choose Cody over Seth. Yeah.
You gotta think the fans pretty much turned Seth babyface because he was coming out and doing the whole heel thing, and no matter what he did, people hung to his music, people chanted him and cheered for him, and he just came out and was a babyface. So it does go to prove too. Seth Rollins is great proof that the fans' voices does matter, because no matter what they did with him, the fans were like, "I don't care what you're trying to put him out as, we like it." So. Right. Seth didn't even become a babyface on purpose. The fans did that.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. So, Tyreek, you got Cody. Joey, it kind of sounds like you're on the same boat. You're going with Cody?
Like I said, there's some great picks, and I don't disagree with anything you said. But there's one person that I am seeing win the male Rumble match, and that is The Rock. Only because it's not for the reason you think. I do want to see Rock and Roman at Mania, but okay, the last time WrestleMania went Hollywood was WrestleMania 21, and we were supposed the idea behind that was to actually get a dream match, The Rock versus Sting, but Sting went for TNA and The Rock kind of went to Hollywood. So when WrestleMania came to Hollywood the first time, we didn't get a Rock match at all, little known a Rock team match. To me, Roman versus Rock, that is dream match. And now they're coming back to Hollywood. And I really think having one of Hollywood's biggest stars today, or in history, so to say, The Rock, come back and do this match would be great. For me, the reason I want to see I believe The Rock's going to win is because I love streaks. I love streaks and the history behind them. And if you look at Roman Reigns' list of people that he has defeated for that title since coming back and defeating Bray Wyatt and Braun Strowman at that Payback pay-per-view was, if you look at the list of people Roman has beat to retain his title, it is legendary. And I think if you can add Rock's name to that, when he does lose the title, you're not going to be talking about you're not going to be talking about Roman losing his belt. One thing you're going to be talking about who the guy was to beat him. And the second thing you'll be talking about is all people Roman successfully defeated to keep his title. And I think the promos and the work that we get from the Rock and Roman's match to put up in the promos, I think it's going to be I think it could be legendary. I think it could be one of the biggest Mania matches we have had in years, because sure, at WrestleMania you have all these matches and they're big, but we don't really have matches anymore like Stone Cold and The Rock Mania. We don't have those type of big money feuds anymore these days.
All right.
And I believe The Rock and Roman would be a match that everybody would pay to see, either A, for the possibility of Roman losing it to The Rock, or B, just The Rock getting handed to him. But I think that if The Rock wins and Roman goes on to defeat him, he puts Roman even higher on the list of his family, because when you think of the whole Rock, Roman, and Rocky Johnson family, I say that because I'm not really good at pronouncing their last name. I'm really not. I butcher it. I don't want to do that. But when you think of that entire family tree, you kind of, the first person you go to is Dwayne. So I think if you were going to do anything to maybe put Roman above him, it would be Roman beating.
All right. So then you're going with The Rock. I like that pick too. For me,
in my heart, that's going to be the outcome.
did you want to put a super pick on that? Super prediction.
Yes, I do.
All right.
I'm going with it. Dwayne, don't let me down, but you're my super pick for the Rumble win.
All right.
Rocky, better show up.
Yeah, Rocky.
Dwayne, they're not costing any points in this. And we're getting time check, I'll tell you that.
All right. So then for me, it's going to be Cody Rhodes. I think we're going to finish the story. But I have some twists and turns in here. I think at the beginning of the night, we're going to learn that the Royal Rumble winner is going to get a shot at one of Roman's belts. I think it's going to be the belt of their choosing. I don't think it's going to be the unified belt anymore, because they've been saying they want to ununify them, and that's kind of the last thing from the Vince era that Triple H needs to kind of take care of. So I think it's going to be Cody Rhodes, and I think that he's going to go on. He's going to challenge for the WWE title, obviously the belt that his father was never able to get in the WWE.
One of the things that I've heard recent is that the USA Network wants to put a world title on Raw.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
they're talking about making a new world championship and putting that on Raw while Roman holds the belt. And to a lot of people, that sounds great. But what do you do when Roman loses those titles and they split them up? And you have 3 world titles on 2 brands. Like, it just sounds like a big mess that you either take care of now or you deal with later. But yeah, like, I don't know, like, if someone wins, challenges Roman for at least, let's say, the WWE title, because he's had the Universal title for 30 years almost, and has that big reign with that title. You gotta think, you gotta think, even if someone beats Roman at Mania for the title, I think the way to look at it is you can't have Roman look weak and losing a title. And
Absolutely.
you can think of some artistic way of like interference or something. But yeah, they got themselves in a pickle with this Roman thing. I'll tell you that right now.
Well, I think I have the way out of this pickle. So we're gonna move into the last match on the card, the undisputed WWE Championship, Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens. This is gonna be my super prediction. I'm gonna go first on this because it kind of ties through. I think that obviously this is going to go on last. I think the men's rumble is going to go on second to last, so they're going to go directly into each other. I think that we are going to see Roman Reigns beat Kevin Owens, and that's going to be my super prediction. I think Roman Reigns is going to come away with the victory, but more importantly, I think that we are going to see the tribal chief. He's going to beat Kevin Owens emphatically. And then at the end of the match, he's going to tell San Antonio, acknowledge me. And of course, everyone's going to cheer because everybody loves Roman. But then, after that, we're going to see up on the Titantron, the Anoa'i family, the Samoan elders, and the same Samoan elders that sent Solo Sikoa to help him at Clash at the castle. Same Samoan elders that bestowed him this, this seat of power. I think they're going to say, Roman Reigns, we acknowledge you. You are the tribal chief. But there is one that challenges your claim. And that is when we hear The Rock's music hit. Absolutely. That is when we see The Rock's music hit. And then I see him going on and, he says, you may be the tribal chief, but I began the dynasty. I am, the superior, and I challenge you for your throne. And so I think that is how we split the champions, where the championships, where we have Cody going for a WWE title, and kind of as a formality, I see Rock going for the Universal title, because he is, the tribal chief of the universe.
Could you imagine the family reunion of this? Like,
oh, absolutely.
Especially after the Rock and Roman fight, like all these hard-headed Samoans, and everyone at this reunion, and then Sami Zayn is kind of like the girlfriend that your family doesn't accept. Like, jeez, like this was a family reunion I'd pay to go to.
Absolutely, but I think when it comes to WrestleMania, I think night one in the opener, I see Rock versus Roman, and I think we're going to see Roman pull out the victory, and he's going to keep his Universal title. He's going to continue that historic reign he's got. He would also have The Rock to add to his record then, like Joey was saying. And then I think on the end of night two, I think we're going to see Cody pull out that victory.
So for this match, you're picking Roman Reigns.
Yeah. So for this, I know that's the least important thing of my pitch, but yes, I am picking Roman Reigns to win this match. That is my super prediction. I am 100% sure that my tribal chief is coming out with the victory, but I think he is going to come away with many more problems than Kevin Owens.
Oh my God! That reminds me, like last year, I went to a live event here in Kentucky, and Roman Reigns was announced, and I went there and lost my voice from yelling so much. I did this one, but Roman Reigns came out, and the whole arena was like booing him, and I kid you not, I saved a good chunk of my voice, and like I was just cheering Roman on the whole time. I'm a big Roman Reigns fan. I liked him before he even started Tribal Chief thing, not as much as I do now, but I always liked him. And the old Tribal Chief thing, I am like beyond on board with it, and I love everything about the current Roman Reigns, the theme song, the attitude, the everything, and yeah, I mean, I agree. Like, I'm just like big on it.
Yeah, it kind of draws back to an old Dragon Ball Z kind of quote, where it's like, Roman is the king, but The Rock is God. So it's what is God to a non-believer, but what is God to a king?
Yeah, exactly.
I just hear him saying five Tribal Chief because I'm sitting here thinking, like, whenever I see him on TV, I'm sitting here telling my dad, okay, hold on, Roman Reigns on. Like, I'm not missing this. Like, and that's me being real. Like, I watch SmackDown or Raw and I watch like all the time anyways. But when I see Roman gonna be on there, I always tell my dad, well, yeah, I'll take care of that in a minute. Roman's coming on. Like, I'm not missing this. and I'll sit there with my hands up with that number one there at the TV, like that's Tribal Chief. Like, I just love to hear them say five Tribal Chief, because that's how I am. Like I'm so into it. Like,
me as well. It's like that's also my prediction. I have like 5 Roman shirts, two or three Uso shirts, and then a couple that are all just bloodline. So my choice is Roman Reigns, and it's just the only reason I have to give is because he's our tribal chief.
Is that any more reason than is required?
Exactly. He's our tribal chief. That's why he's gonna win.
All right, Joey, is that?
I'm tribal chief. Like, you know how bad I wish I could go somewhere and job application out and be like, well, what's your number one? What's your number one thing? Why should we hire you? Because I'm your tribal chief. That's why. Like, it just sounds badass.
So is that going to be your prediction then too, Joey? Is our tribal chief Roman Reigns?
Exactly.
Our Lord and Savior?
Alright, before I go into the outros or anything else you guys would like to add?
No, I think this has been a great podcast. Obviously we're all new to this, and to any listeners, if you have made it this far, first of all, what's wrong with you? Second of all, thank you so much. Obviously, all of us are learning. We're nervous, but we are going to grow, and I can't wait to see where this long, strange journey will take us.
Exactly.
All right.
I'm hoping that all the fans that we have now and anyone that listens to the fan, I hope they can join in on the conversation, have fun with us. Like I said, the Royal Rumble is January 28th, and it will be the fourth Rumble from San Antonio, Texas. So you can catch it on Peacock in the U.S. They'll be outside the U.S. or elsewhere. But I just hope everyone enjoys the Rumble, and I just hope that we will get our money's worth. I think we will.
All right, and I'll end it with this. So, if you guys enjoyed the Room Post Daily podcast, just you guys can subscribe to the YouTube. You can follow on Instagram and Twitter. You could join the Facebook group, and I believe there's a number of other things you can do as well. Support your favorite wrestlers by watching the Rumble. And we have been Joey, Jesse, and Tyreek, and we'll see you on the next episode.